Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Mass. I hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off, we have the black pieces against the 1629 from Ukraine. We've got an e4. Recently we've tried c5. Let's go back to the basics with e5. Let's go back to the basics. I can't remember if we've had another... Ooh, actually that's quite interesting. We get an f4 King's Gambit. King's Gambit is a very interesting opening. Very interesting indeed. I'm not a fan personally. I think it's... I mean, it's okay. It's obviously okay. And it's very attacking. What do we do? What do we do? I think there's tons of stuff we can do here, actually. I think you can basically do anything here. Let's... I really want to play d5. Really want to play d5. So let's do it. Let's do it. Apparently, this is called the Folk Beer Counter Gambit. Don't know any of the theory, but we're making it up on the spot, which is the best type of theory, really. I feel like all my theories made up on the spot, apart from my theory videos. I researched them thoroughly. But yeah, stuff like this. Who knows? It looks fun. So they take the counter gambit. I guess it's a bit like an Albin. Should we push it like an Albin? Should we play it like an Albin? Let's go for it. Staunton line, it's a thing. They play another gambit. So this is a King's Gambit, counter gambit, counter gambit, which is way past my pay grade. And they want that. Let's go ahead with knight f6. Let's go with knight f6. I don't know anything. I literally know nothing. We'll take the pawn. This is I don't even know. We'll have a look at the name, but that's too long of a name to even fit on the little chess.com thing. We will have a look afterwards, but this is mental. I've got no clue. Our immediate threat is just queen to h4 with this knight takes idea. They probably know that. I don't know if a queen e2 is coming, at which point we play queen e7. We're threatening to take this, so maybe they go knight there, and they just let us take this. Maybe there is some theory there. Or they could go for like a g3, which would be interesting to say the least, I guess. I don't know what we would do there. Maybe even move the knight back to f6 and just hit this pawn. Yeah, so like a h3, knight back, bishop g2 could work. We probably want a bishop d6 and try actually hit this pawn as well. Maybe even a bishop g4. And we just sort of play normally. We're down a pawn, somehow. We're down a pawn, basically, which is fine. We're fine. But they have weaknesses. They have stuff, and we've got decent activity, not much crazier than theirs, although this f-pawn's actually a bit of a blockade for their dark squared bishop. They have a good knight square, they have another good knight square, but they don't have any play on here because they sort of want their bishop on g2. They could go for this, but I can see that fizzling out quite quickly, and actually my knight coming on b6 would hit this pawn again, so who knows? It's up to them to decide, really. It's up to them to decide. I don't know if queen e2 we can actually still play queen h4. The queen can... No, the queen can't block. The queen cannot block. Although we can't take this pawn. That's the problem, we can't take the pawn. So we would probably have to just go queen e7 and just play the weaknesses, like we do with the Albin. Just play the weaknesses. The only difference between this and the Albin is obviously it's on the queen. It's on the king side. So there is no bishop to. It would be b4 check. There is no bishop to b4 check, which is why the e3 line in the Albin doesn't work. I'll show it after the game, but it doesn't work now because it's not check. The queen can just take the bishop. So we needed to move the knight out to f6 first. Anyway, that's me rambling. We need a move. That's all I can say. That's all I can say at the minute. Do we have any bishop c5 ideas hitting this? Do we have any... I don't think we have any queen f6 ideas. I really want a bishop g4, but that doesn't work. That does not work. Yeah, we got stuff. We got stuff. I don't think it's bad for the pawn. I don't think it's bad for the pawn necessarily. We just have to play it a bit smarter. And that's what happens when you play a counter gambit. Stuff gets crazy. And then a counter gambit is even wilder. Knight f3 does stop the queen coming in, which is good for them. Good for them. Now, we've got to decide how to play this. We have to decide how to play this. I think the obvious idea is bishop g4, although it doesn't actually work because queen takes. And then the pawn can still block this with the queen takes pawn after knight takes. So that doesn't quite work. We have bishop c5. That stops him from castling, and it's threatening the immediate knight f2. Although I don't actually know if that works or not. Maybe even a king f8 after check. That's wild. Okay. So we need to target this pawn somehow. Knight d7 looks slow, and I don't think we can afford to play slow at the minute. So it is probably going to be a bishop c5, I reckon. Bishop c5 is the immediate threat. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. So, I mean, there's nothing much to it but to do that. The good thing is that I didn't see earlier was queen e2. We just take this pawn. And we're protecting the knight. And there's no pawn that can actually attack the knight either. So we can just take that pawn, which is quite nice. So they're actually having a hard time defending this now. Knight h3 was never an option to defend it because bishop takes. And we've posed some serious questions for them. We have posed some serious questions. Yes, so they go with that. Now I'm wondering if we can take this pawn. I wonder if c4 is an option. We could actually check first, which could be devastating actually. Check first, king there. We take the pawn with check. We take the pawn with check, and whatever blocks. Whew, I mean, it's not nice. It's not nice. Whatever you want to say about it, it's not nice. So yeah, maybe we throw in this cheeky check. I wonder if we have anything more concrete. It would probably be knight there, just so the bishop's still hanging on to this pawn. I would very much love a knight to c3, but that does not work, unfortunately, with this pawn here. So how can we get rid of this pawn, potentially? Don't think we can. Don't think we can. It's unfortunate, but sometimes that's the way it is. Maybe we just play like that. We've got the pawn back, and we're just happy. It's an option. Alternatively, queen takes is the immediate checkmate, forcing off the queens. However, queen comes back. Ooh. Ooh. Now that's... Queen would have to go back, right? I guess you have bishop to e3 then. That works. So we would need to... If we want to do this, we need to do this now. Is what we found out, I think. I think that's... And then we just castle... and we continue development, and they can't castle. So let's go for it. Let's go for it. I think we're all good. And any attempt to kick out this knight results in check now as well, which is really good. So we have time to actually move the bishop back if we have to. If they block with the bishop, probably just castles. Probably just castles. And try to get this rook in the game. We can't immediately. But again, we just continue our usual development and try attack some weaknesses. And we should be quite good. We should be quite good. And this is just the oversight of Queen E2. I think we were like that at first when we first got into this position. Queen E2 was an idea, and I was thinking Queen E7, but then I realised you're actually just giving up control of that D pawn, which is, I think, probably actually vital for white here, because it's stopping our development, really. Our bishop's lacking in good squares. This isn't too good because of the knight. And yeah, it's quite a crucial pawn, actually. It's a bit of a pain in our backside. But, it's all okay. All okay now. Well, I think it is. Hopefully the evaluation agrees with me. It should do. It should do. We are just even with a lead in development, I think. A weakened castle as well, which is quite key. Maybe even a queenside castle would be nice. Although I don't see what's wrong with a kingside castle, and it is a bit quicker than having to get all these pieces out first. However, they decide to get out, and they are stuck. They are stuck, which is good. And this is why you've got to be careful playing gambits. You have to know all the lines. They've gone with King D1, which is the only move apart from Queen takes, and they spent 2 minutes on that, which is cool. Let's take the pawn. That was the whole idea. I don't see what's wrong with taking the pawn. We will happily trade off queens. Happily trade off the bishop as well. If we can keep the bishop pair, that would be absolutely amazing for us. Really, really good for us. And yeah, just happy. What I would really like is if the knight moves, we get a bishop g4. Problem is that doesn't work. The idea is once queen takes, you fork. But the bishop's on our forking square, which is really annoying. So maybe we have to do something with that. Maybe drop it back or something. Not quite sure. It depends what they block with. They have multiple pieces. It would be a mistake to block with this knight, I think. It's your only developed piece. I think it would be a mistake to block with the bishop. It would definitely be a mistake to block with the queen, seeing as how we can just take it with the knight. So they would have to do knight block. Really. Knight B block, I should say. Is the only logical-ish move. And yeah, maybe even a bishop g4 and just hit the queen. Not hit the queen, but sort of eye up the queen. We can get kicked out. In fact, we are actually getting trapped there, so we would have to take, which isn't particularly nice. At which point our knight's under attack, which also isn't particularly nice. It sort of forces a trade-off, although we do get these double pawns, which isn't bad. At all, I don't think. Sorry, that seems a bit rambly. I think I went on a bit of a tangent there. Yeah, so they block with the knight. And we need to decide our long-term ideas here. They are having a ridiculously hard time castling. I mean, they can't castle. So, the longer this plays out, the better. Well, not the better. I think we're winning. The more even this becomes, and the less important the castling is. So we need to try keep the queens on the board, if possible. How do we do that? Who knows? Who knows? I definitely don't. It's probably going to be like a knight c6 is the way. I don't think there's anything immediately they can do other than like a c5. But then we... I mean, we've got stuff then, surely. c5 looks super weakening. Maybe it's not that bad. Yeah, maybe it's not that bad, actually, because we can't stay on this file with the knight pin and still hold this knight here, which is a bit of a pain. And this knight's holding the bishop as well, which is also a huge pain. So, actually, the threat is c4. c4 is quite scary. c4 is quite scary. I wonder if we go bishop to d7. It's quite a cool idea, actually. c4, if I can draw an arrow, bishop to d7, c4, check, is super interesting. Pawn push, and then check. It's interesting because our queen's still hanging at the end of it. It's interesting because our queen's still hit by c4. Which makes things a bit tricky. It does. Check, pawn push, knight there. King up to c2 is the only move. I think... Ooh. And our bishop's hanging as well. So... Yeah, that's not as nice as it looks. It's not as nice as it looks. C4, check, pawn push. Maybe we hold off and go like knight f5 or queen f5, but then knight takes is horrible. Check. King f2. I'm not seeing... I would really like queen takes c4 because of the pin, but that doesn't quite work. Yeah. We probably just take the queen, right? Pawn takes... The problem is then our knight and bishop are still hanging, which doesn't work. So I wonder if... Is this not as nice as it looks? Do we trade off the knight here? We can't even trade off the knight because of the pin. Oh no. Is this bad? F5? Castles? Castles c5. And we lose. Have I over miscalculated? Have I miscalculated? Oh, actually c5. Bishop d7, c5. We check with the king first. Check with the knight first. King moves, queen takes, we take the bishop. And then we're even, and they have an isolated pawn. And if they take, then we have checkmate. Oh, that's cheeky. That's so cheeky. The problem is there anything wrong with that? That's a very tempting thing to do, though. Oh no, they actually have just queen takes. Oh, that's brutal. They just have queen takes knight. Queen takes knight. I didn't see that. I didn't see that one. That's frustrating. So maybe an f5's in order then. Oh, the problem is c5's still coming. This is a brutal game. Oh, and we still can't do knight to... We can't even do knight to c3 because of the queen. Oh no. This isn't good at all. We've overstepped here. We have overstepped and miscalculated. Gosh. c5 is horrible. What a move. Wow. What a move that is. Are we going to have to play king f8? No, because c5's still coming. And this knight is killing us. Wow. That's beautiful. There's nothing we can do. That's devastating. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, man. No way this position's crushing me. There's no way. This feels so good. Wow. There's nothing that can be done. B5? B5 still falls to queen takes. Wow. I can't believe that. Wow. We're 9 moves in and I'm completely lost. Surely not. I'm trying to find stuff, but I just can't. I don't think there's any move I can make here that doesn't immediately lose. Oh, man. That's so brutal. Nice. Still queen takes. There's c5. c5, I guess we just drop back to e6. But then knight takes... Oh no. We're going to auto-resign, and I can't auto-resign. I've not got a move yet. Oh gosh. Okay, I mean, bishop f5, I guess. Wow. That's horrible. That's a horrible position. A real stinker of a position, that is. Wow, I can't believe that. One bit. That's wild. That's really wild. What? c5 is brutal. c5, queen goes back. Oh, you even... No, that doesn't work. Whoa. That can't be right. That can't be right. No, that's losing. That's not a good move. We just take that. Queen takes. We got bishop takes f3 and the queen's x-raying the bishop. Oh! Oh, it comes with check. Actually, no, that's fine. That's fine. We just take the queen. We're good. We're chilling. Knight takes, we take the... Yeah. And we're all good here. Woo, panic over. Wow. We can take... do we take the rook? It's probably just a free rook, right? It's probably just a free rook. Oh, they missed c5. Wow. It wasn't a free rook. We probably should have taken the knight. But anyway, we're still up. Brutal. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say at all. We'll go bishop g2 just because I don't want to block off our rook or our knight. And there's nowhere else to go, basically. Wow, I can't believe we spent 9 minutes on a move. That's got to be the longest thing we've done this series. Wow. Yeah, so we definitely should have taken the knight there. I completely missed the knight could take the bishop. To be honest, I was just happy to be alive. I was just happy to be alive. I'm sure the computer will say we're completely losing there. I don't see how we can get out of c5. Because queen takes knight, basically. But I was lucky they didn't spend 9 minutes on that move. Otherwise, I would have been toast. c5. Oh, c4. I don't know why I keep saying c5. It's c4. c4 is brutal. Whew. Let off lucky, to say the least. To say the least. Now knight c6. We long castle. Our plan's pretty clear. They're not getting this rook out for a while. And we're all chilling. We are all chilling. I know I said that right before we were completely losing, but wow. You know, some games, they just have you spending half your time on one move, and the rest is just simple. But wow, I'm amazed. I'm amazed that I'm still alive to tell the tale. And we were about 10 seconds from it auto resigning for us as well, which is wild. That'll tell me not to underestimate someone's position. You know, after all, I am not a computer. I am not a computer. I think probably Bishop G4 is a good move for them. Just stopping me long castling. That is not a good move, I don't think. We can even go Knight C6, and you've just developed for us because our bishop's covering the knight. You're not doing anything. We long castle, Rook E8. It's in fact, is it mating potentially? Long castles. I guess bishop check, not check, block. But then we do some fancy maneuvers and try hit that bishop for all it's worth. Long castles here, definitely. We go in Knight B4, hitting this knight. We probably actually want to throw in A6 first, just so the bishop can't cover the knight. So we're going to throw in A6. They can't castle. They can't. They want a castle. They really want a castle, but they can't. Yeah, that's decent. That's a decent move. Hitting my pawn. I'm not sure if I'm okay to give that up, actually. We could throw in a Rook E8. Hit the bishop. And then we're potentially threatening some mating activities. That sounded wrong. Whatever. We'll roll with it. And here we could even throw in a bishop D5 and actually force off the bishop, so we're not fighting a bishop pair, which is always going to be a good idea in my books. Always going to be a good idea. They can't go anywhere where they don't trade off the bishop, basically. So that's quite a cool move. And it's something I've been reading about in my book. Not my book, the book I'm reading. How to Reassess Your Chess. Anti-bishop strategy, how to play against bishop pairs and stuff, and you have to be active with your anti-bishop strategy, and you have to force it off however you can. We want to stick all our pawns on. That's a good question. What color do we want to? Probably light squares, right? Probably light squares. We're going to try win the bishop. So we probably want to just keep everything tidy. Rook H5 is coming. Knight B4. And stuff's looking tidy. Stuff's looking tidy. Not as tidy as I want, but stuff is starting to look tidy. It just needs a bit more work on it, and we should be swell. Swell, as the youths say. Knight D4 threatening nasty things. If the king moves there, we still have the fork. If the king moves back anywhere, we take the bishop. If the king moves forward, we have knight F5, winning the bishop completely. So they are also forced to give up the bishop here, I'm pretty sure. At which point it's potentially resignable. You probably could still play it on for a fair bit. But I'm just happy. I'm just happy, to be honest. They didn't think at all about trading off the bishop. They thought for 9 whole seconds, which is amazing, really. We're going to trade off the rook, obviously. We're not messing around with it. And we just have to be a bit careful for forks and all that good stuff. I wonder if G5's an idea. Winning this pawn It's super weak, so I'm not particularly worried about it. We'll play g5. We have ideas. We're just winning this. There's no way they can defend the h2 pawn. At which point we're targeting everything, and they have. It's not that powerful on g5 really. They would have to get rid of both of these pawns, which is going to be annoying, seeing as how that's where your knight wants to be on g5. I feel bad for this guy. I think once they see the eval, see the computer CC4, they're going to be kicking themselves. And I know very much what it's like to kick yourself after a game. It's not a pleasant feeling. They just lose the knight here. Good game. Crazy game. Brutal game. This is what chess is. You know, it's harsh. It's brutal. We will analyze it, see how wrong we were, see how right we were. Who knows what could happen, really? The computer could find some miracle cure. And apparently it wasn't that bad. We got a 93.9%. Wow. 2300. 100% accuracy in the opening. 90% accuracy in the middle game. 98.9% accuracy in the end game. Wow. That's better than I thought it would. So we play this crazy, crazy gambit. Counter gambit declined sort of thing. The opening's still going. What? Whoa. The best move was to go back with the knight. Whoa. Okay, what is this opening? Please tell me. So, the full name is The King's Gambit Declined, Falkbeer Accepted, Staunton, Karasek Gambit Accepted. What? That's a whole essay just to say the name of the opening. So, this is the King's Gambit. This is the Falkbeer Counter Gambit. They take... so it's the Falkbeer Counter Gambit Accepted. Then we play the Staunton line. Then they go with the Karasek... Karosek Gambit. We temporarily decline that. And then they take the pawn. And we take that with the knight. It keeps going. This is still book. So I'm assuming best moves here. And this is completely winning for white. This is 2.8 for white, which is crazy because it looks so good for black. But I guess that's the gambit. I don't know why it's so good for us. This check is just so tempting. I wonder what the best move actually is. Bishop to f5 apparently is the way to go. And you still play normally. Yeah, queen on e7 rather than going after the pawn. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This bishop check is so tempting, but like there's nothing afterwards. Like all white's pieces are just all around the king. Like it's crazy, crazy, crazy. And then the check, they could take with the queen, but that's minus 2.85, so it's not even that bad, but you are down practically a piece. King d1 is the way to go. At which point it's still playable for white. f5 is the way to go. And we mentioned f5, but we mentioned it way too late rather than taking this pawn. We go ahead and take the pawn with the queen, which is 2.6, 2.2, 2.5, around the area for white, which we sort of felt. We felt like we were losing a piece. And it's just nasty. Knight fd2 is the way to go. We saw here queen d3. In fact, we didn't see queen d3 at all. What do you do here? What do you do here? Queen e6 apparently is the way to go. And I guess you just castle and get your rook onto d8. Something along those lines. Knight c6. I'm not quite sure. I wonder what they said about bishop moving. Just castle and similar ideas. Just develop. So this knight move is wild. f5. And that's defending. Oh, that looks wild. That's crazy though. And you're not losing a piece. Oh, because you've got threats of e3. Oh my! You sack another piece. This is completely winning for white though, so I'm not sure what computer moves these are. Anyway, they went back with the wrong knight, which is wild. And then f5 is the way to go. It doesn't make much difference. It's 1.2 if you play f5 here, and 1.6 if you play bishop f5. So f5, we can see here, is knight g5. Wow, what? And you're just adding another attacker. That's so simple. What about c4? c4 loses, well, drawn-ish even, to queen d6. And can't you just do... Oh, because they can't do queen takes. Duh, they can't do queen takes, and you have to do knight g5 anyway. Wow. Oh, we misevaluated. That's so bad. And then bishop f5. I thought c4 here was completely winning, and that is the best move. Queen d6 apparently. Yeah, but then you lose the bishop at the end of it. That's the whole point. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Anyway, they completely messed that up. We can take. Queen takes, and then we get this at the end. And we were wrong to take the rook. You actually just take the knight, and it's cleaner. It's a lot cleaner. This rook's not doing much anyway. And then you keep the bishop pair as well with severe threats. Sorry, severe threats on the white king. Knight takes f2. Yeah. Bishop back to g2 was correct, which was cool. We just develop castles, kick the bishop, play bishop d5, trading off the bishop. G6 hanging onto the pawn, and then this knight d4 idea, super clinical, trading off the bishop, trade off the rooks, and then g5 is also a really cool move as well. Wow. I feel like I need to take a break after that. I don't even know what we do against the King's Gambit anymore, because that seemed like a good opening, but it just went south so quickly. So e5. Going into the Staunton line, it's okay, it's playable. It's 0.4 for white. d3 is going to be the main move you see, at which point the best move is actually queen takes d5. Crazy stuff, and I guess you just trade off queens. If the knight comes out, bishop to b4, you just pin the knight. I guess you trade off, then trade off queens. Fair enough. So I'll remember that for next time. Knight to f3, f6 is still a fine move, I think. Or you could just take it. What happens if they take? Queen takes is the best move. Although I assume bishop takes is the more gambity move. Anyway, way too much theory to go over right now. I'm shocked. I am in a state of horror. I don't think that's something you can be in a state of, but I am in it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.